Hi, my name is Tara, and I suffered a near fatal reaction to the COVID vaccine. I suffered a traumatic brain injury, and I still am fighting for my life 2 years later to heal my body from the disruption that it has caused in multi system failure in my body with my immune system, my nervous system, and my adrenal system. This is my story. At the time of my vaccine, it was 2 years ago. I was 42, a small business owner, mother of two, wife, very active. And I got the Pfizer vaccine because the state mandated that my business could not open unless our guests and staff were vaccinated. Within a few hours, I knew that there was something wrong. I felt like I had glass running through my veins, and I got incredibly fatigued. I ended up sleeping for about 16 hours that night, and I felt like I weighed 1,000 pounds. Over the course of the next couple of days, I continued to have that feeling coursing through my veins and my chest, as well as the fatigue, and I started to experience pinching around my heart. It felt like somebody was squeezing my heart. Within, I think it was 4 days after the vaccine was my first hospital visit. My brain just pretty much shut off one day. I was unable to finish a sentence, get my thoughts together, and the whole earth underneath me was moving from side to side. I was having heart palpitations, and the chest pains had exasperated. I went to the emergency room. They did a number of tests on me and said that I was fine and sent me home. The very next morning when I woke up, my face was completely swollen and beet red. My skin was flush and hot. I could not see. My vision was like looking through water. I had a severe migraine. I had absolutely no balance, and I had no muscle strength. I pulled myself out of bed and tried to crawl to the stairs. And the more that my blood would pump, the more pain I had in my chest, in my veins, as well as around my heart. I could not project my voice above a whisper. I ended up getting hospitalized for, I think, 6 days, the first trip on the cardiac floor. And the neurologist that saw me on the first day said that I had suffered an adverse reaction from the Pfizer vaccine. It either had triggered a dormant virus in my body, or it was pulling out a possible genetic disease that I have down the road. They really thought I had multiple sclerosis, and maybe it was pulling out the symptoms of multiple sclerosis. After being in the hospital for a week on a lot of anti-inflammatories, I was sent home. I was not okay. I still could not walk. I had vestibular neuritis, so the whole world shifted side to side. My eyes were like looking through a split screen. They were not communicating with each other or to my brain properly. I could not form thoughts. I developed a stutter. I had a really hard time handling any kind of conversation or any kind of stimulant. It would just overwhelm my system with, too much talking, too much noise, lights, movement. It was just crashing me. The first night I was home from the hospital, I collapsed, and I was laying on the bathroom floor. And I was unable to move for about 20 minutes. My brain could not tell my body to move. I had the most excruciating pain in my chest I had ever felt. It felt like my blood vessels were going to pop. My kids sat on the floor with me, rubbing my hair and holding my hand while my husband waited for the EMS to bring me to the hospital. And once again, they said I was okay, and they sent me home. Over the next couple of weeks, my symptoms were up and down. I started to get a little bit better, and then I woke up one morning and I had completely lost my ability to speak. It started out with just struggling to get the words out, like my tongue was clumsy and not working properly. And as the day progressed, I ended up losing all of my speech. My husband, of course, had rushed me to the emergency room. And before I lost my speech, I made a goodbye video for my family because I truly thought that I was not going to make it through the day. And I, at the very least, would not be coming out of the day with my speech. It was incredibly scary. I was emergency transferred to a bigger hospital because my brain scan had shown signs of ischemia. I had lost blood flow and oxygen to my brain. My husband signed a Compassionate Care Act that night to stay at bedside because the prognosis was pretty grim. They didn't think I was going to make it through the night, and they had absolutely no idea what was happening in my body or how to treat me. I ended up becoming, within hours, I was losing everything. I lost my ability to swallow. Then I lost my ability, which was one of the scariest feelings. Your throat doesn't work. I could just breathe through my nose. And the breathing wasn't intentional. I had to tell my body to breathe over and over again because it was no longer automatic. And I became paralyzed. I was trapped in my body. It felt like I had a metal taste in my mouth, and I had fire burning in my ears, and my entire body had failed. I had no motor skills, no ability to lift my arms or legs, nothing. I could just breathe through my nose. Over the course of the next 3 days, this was pretty much the way my body was. I would start to get a little bit better, and I would regain my ability to speak and sit up. And then as the day progressed, I would again lose my ability to speak. So that was the scariest time, I would say, up until recently. But the next few months, I struggled with everything, being able to walk, being able to talk. I could not regulate my blood pressure. I could not regulate my heartbeat. I was dizzy all the time. I would have fainting and sinking episodes and continued to get bouts of inflammation around my heart, which was incredibly painful. That was 2 years ago. Since then, I have had, kind of stopped counting at this point, but I believe last week was my 26th emergency room visit with similar symptoms. I get better, and then I have a flare, I guess it's called. I get better, it comes back. And when I get one of these flares, it's terrifying, and I struggle to go to the hospital because I don't want to go to the hospital because they don't know how to treat me. They always say that you're fine, but I'm not fine. In fact, I've just had extensive testing done, and I found out that my adrenal glands are not working. My thyroid is not working. My blood vessels are thinned and inflamed. My white blood cells are not coated properly to bounce off of each other. Therefore, they are sticking to each other. I have inflammation represented in my blood. I have high amounts of iodine, probably from all of the CAT scans that I've had with dye and MRIs. I have high amounts of vitamin E, low DHA. I'm insulin resistant. I have my liver is not detoxifying my body properly. I continue to get inflammation around my heart. And I have dysautonomia from my sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system being so out of whack that they're just fighting with each other all of the time. So dysautonomia is when you're not able to regulate your blood pressure, your heartbeat, your breathing, all the automatic functions that your body just naturally does that you don't have to think about. Well, my body's not regulating them properly. So many times my breathing has to be intentional. My heart rate bounces while I'm sleeping and jumps me out of bed because it's so rapid and it's scary. I'll walk you through what a flare looks like, and they're different. They evolve, they change. Sometimes I have all the symptoms. Sometimes I have a few of the symptoms. Sometimes it lasts for a few days. Sometimes it has lasted for a few months. So a flare basically will start with me becoming incredibly tired and feel like my body is made of lead. I cannot wake up. I cannot lift myself up. I fall asleep by 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I just cannot get out of bed. I start to get cramping around my heart. I cannot regulate my skin temperature, so it goes from being super ice cold, even if it's 80 degrees out, where I'm shivering and convulsing because I'm shivering so bad, to just pure soaking wet sweating, to my skin feels like it's sunburned or somebody rubbed acid on it, and it lasts like that for days. I have burning in my blood vessels, specifically on my entire left side. It feels like there's acid in my veins. I get extreme sharp pains and cramping in my heart that feel like I'm having a heart attack. I lose my neurological function. So my face will droop, I will become numb, and I will lose function of my limbs. So I can't use my arms or legs, or they're very weak. Or they just have numbness and tingling in the nerves. So it depends on how bad it is. When it's bad, I literally just cannot even use my arms or legs. Severe headaches. The scariest is, and the most frequent, is my tongue and my throat will contract involuntarily, and it makes it really hard to breathe. It starts to contract, and my throat contracts, my windpipe spasms. And then the worst of it is when it's like my diaphragm's not working properly. My diaphragm is not telling my lungs to breathe. It feels like it's very weak and it's contracting irregularly. So from head to toe, my entire system is completely just in this horrible state where I can't regulate all of the normal things. And when I do go to the emergency room, they treat me like a stroke and heart attack victim patient, because that is exactly what I present as. I have all of the symptoms of a stroke and a heart attack. So even though I don't want the CAT scans, they have to give me a CAT scan to make sure that that's not what's happening. And yeah, it has turned my entire life upside down. Just to give you a little idea of who I was before this, I was 42. I went to the gym 5 days a week. I competed in different fitness competitions and runs, and mud runs specifically. Very active as a mom. My family, we do everything together. We ride dirt bikes and snowmobiles, and we spend a lot of time in the woods, and a lot of sports. We're outside. I'm always very involved with my kids. It's super important to me. I was a business owner. I had to sell my business because I have been really unable to work. Especially the first year, I could not work at all. And the second year was a struggle, and it was so stressful. My body just could not handle any of the stress. So we had to sell our business. I pretty much ate healthy. So yeah, I went from being just a healthy 42-year-old to now I have this complete dysfunction in my body where nothing's really working properly, and I fight for my life all the time. And when I'm feeling okay, I live my life to the fullest, and I go out and I am as involved as I possibly can be. The emotions with this illness have gone everywhere from despair, sadness, terror, fear, and it took 2 years for me to get angry. And I got angry when I learned that there were so many other people out there that had the same problems as me, because I thought this was rare, and I thought, I just was the unlucky one. My body couldn't handle the vaccine. But the truth of the matter is there's actually hundreds of thousands of people out there struggling like me, and there's not enough data or research being done from the government to the traditional hospitals and doctors. So they don't know how to treat us or take care of us, and they just continue to push the narrative that the vaccine is safe and effective, and it truly is not. So I've decided, rather than to be angry and have all of these feelings, I would rather filter all of those emotions into doing something good. And the only thing that I can do is continue to research and try to find answers and hope of how to treat myself in the process of being able to put resources out there to treat others, because there are so many people suffering alone and in silence. Thousands of people have taken their own lives because they just can't live in this horror anymore. They can't work. They can't pay their bills. They can't take care of their family. And it is truly a nightmare. And if everybody stays silent, then nothing will ever be done. And I'm asking you to share my story, share anybody's story, just have open conversations about it. We just need to spread awareness and educate yourself before you continue to get your boosters. I'm not anti-vax. My kids and we have all the vaccines that we've ever needed. This is not anti-vax. This is not political. This is my life. This is my life that has been stripped from me, that I fight to get back every day, and I need help. So thank you for your time. And thank you for all of your prayers and your support. It truly means the world to me.